And so they're very much looking at separate professional lives. There's some commentary around the fact that there may be some upset in their marriage as well. But at this stage, it's just looking like they are very much following different paths. Meghan, of course, is involved with American Riviera Orchard, her jams and preserves and dog biscuits, and of course the cooking show that's going to accompany that. Harry's moving back to the things that really meant a lot to him in the past.
So many times how Harry is so much better on his own, and the evidence appears to keep adding up. Louise, is there more than just a professional separation?
Well, it does make me wonder, because all signs point to some issues behind the scenes. I mean, professionally, they've had to separate. Their brand was toxic.
Some other famous people in the USA, Meghan Markle and, of course, her husband, the Ginger. What do you make of reports in Vanity Fair that Meghan's PR team have reportedly spruiked a potential book about her life post-divorce from Prince Harry, which is a bit awkward since the couple haven't even split up?
Yeah, I wish I could say that surprises me, but it seems like the privacy brigade, when they're not begging us to leave them alone, will also do anything for attention. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if she'd shopped a divorce book or a divorce reality show. I'm honestly half surprised she hasn't come out as transgender yet. I guess you just constantly have to reinvent yourself and come up with new reasons for relevancy when you don't have any actual talents. I mean, everything that they've touched turns to the opposite of gold when it comes to their entertainment company and their Netflix deals. My personal favorite thing about her is that when she did her podcast series for Spotify, she didn't even record the interviews properly. She had producers interview the people and then read a script in her own voice of the questions to be edited in after the fact.
It's the kind of royal scandal no one saw coming. Or maybe we all did. What started as a fairy tale has now become a PR minefield of titles, tension, and, if the whispers are true, a looming divorce. Could Meghan Markle really be preparing to walk away from Prince Harry now that he's allegedly facing the ultimate royal punishment? Stripped of his title, cut off from royal life completely, and publicly diminished by the very family he tried to distance himself from. But behind the headlines and palace gates, something deeper is unraveling. The question isn't just whether the monarchy is turning its back on Harry, it's whether Meghan is too. And the clues? They're hiding in plain sight.
If Meghan ever get divorced, it would make for an absolute ratings bonanza. Kinsey, surely not. Surely these TV executives are not praying for a divorce. I mean, that is really cynical.
From Meghan's solo brand launches and PR moves that don't include Harry, to rumors of royal revenge and chilling reports that Harry might be officially erased from the royal lineage once Charles is gone.
Spicy allegations over the years. But come January 2025, and Vanity Fair has entered.
It's all pointing to a disturbing shift. And that's not even the whole story. Because once you see what Meghan's been doing quietly behind the scenes, and how it lines up with Harry's growing royal isolation,
and it's blistering. A long-form expose I did not see coming. There is this. A few years ago, a rumour began circulating around the book world about another prospective project for Meghan.
You'll realise this isn't just about a couple at a crossroads. It's about two very different futures being carved. One branded in Hollywood gold, the other unravelling in royal disgrace.
Hollywood and across America and the UK as well. So whether that travels into a separation for them, let's hope not, because there are two children at stake here.
So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might change the way you see the Sussexes forever. You may have seen the headlines. Prince Harry is reportedly on the verge of losing the last thread connecting him to the British royal family, his Duke of Sussex title.
That for Lilibet and Archie either, but moreover to that, I really find that I'm seeing Harry and Meghan much happier professionally working as a separate entity. Look, the beautiful pictures of Harry in Vancouver, the big smile, he's so engaged, and Arthur Edwards, of course, who's followed him around the world as a Sun Royal photographer, made the point that he was really seeing the Harry of old.
But what you haven't seen is the power struggle happening behind closed doors, and how it might be the final blow to Harry and Meghan's marriage. Let's break it down. After stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Harry and Meghan were allowed to retain their Duke and Duchess titles, even though they could no longer use his or her Royal Highness. It was a messy compromise, one that kept tensions just below boiling point. But now, with King Charles reportedly battling serious health issues and Prince William poised to take the throne, sources inside the palace claim the gloves are coming off. According to insiders cited by British Times Online, Prince William is preparing to officially strip Harry of his title once he becomes king. A move designed not just to clean up the monarchy, but to send a message: you left, stay gone. And this isn't just royal theater. There's a very real legal and symbolic meaning to it. Being stripped of a title by a sitting monarch, especially your own brother, is as personal as it is political. And for Harry, who's already been publicly sidelined at events like the Platinum Jubilee and his father's coronation, it's a clear escalation. But here's where things take a darker turn, because according to reports, it's not just about titles anymore. There's a broader plan in motion, one that may involve removing Harry from the official royal lineage entirely in the event of King Charles's passing. That means no place in royal succession, no ceremonial role, no heritage, no history. It's as if the firm has decided he doesn't belong to us anymore. And this is where Meghan's role becomes more complicated. Some royal watchers argue she pushed Harry to leave the family, and now that the consequences are finally setting in, she's not willing to face them with him. Others say the decision was mutual, but that Meghan never expected Harry to lose everything. That the idea of being with a man once seen as royalty, but now branded a public embarrassment, may not have been in her long-term plans. And then there's the cold, strategic angle. Meghan is a brand, a public figure, a content powerhouse. And when you look at the moves she's been making, signing solo business deals, launching individual projects, keeping Harry notably absent from her brand promotions, it's not hard to see why some speculate that she's repositioning herself with or without Harry. This title drama isn't just a royal family squabble, it's a litmus test for how strong their bond really is. Because what's happening now isn't just symbolic, it's strategic, it's permanent. And whether or not the public is ready to admit it, being stripped of your title by your own blood isn't something you just bounce back from. Especially not when your partner is already building a life outside of your shadow. But if you think losing his title is the biggest threat Harry's facing right now, just wait until you see what Meghan's been doing behind closed doors.
That Meghan's team had a conversation with a publishing house to gauge interest in the idea for a potential book, the concept for which there was no written or formal proposal.
Since stepping back from royal duties, Meghan Markle hasn't been idle. She's been on a mission to build an empire all her own. It started quietly, with whispers of a lifestyle brand in the works. But what we've seen over the past year suggests something far more calculated.
That for Lilibet and Archie either, but moreover to that, I really find that I'm seeing Harry and Meghan much happier professionally working as a separate entity. Look, the beautiful pictures of Harry in Vancouver, the big smile, he's so engaged, and Arthur Edwards, of course, who's followed him around the world as a Sun royal photographer, made the point that he was really seeing the Harry of old. And it's been wonderful to see that. So,
and I feel like we have said that a number of times over the year, where we have seen him at various things on his own, and he just seems to be, a bit lighter and like he's having a bit more fun. It looks like too that this professional separation is creeping into Christmas plans.
That's right. So Harry is, one of the things he absolutely loves is Scotty's Little Soldiers. It's a charity for children who have lost their parents through war.
Meghan flipping the script on power couple dynamics, staking her claim as the star of her own show. First came, as ever, her wellness meets luxury line that dropped without a single joint announcement alongside Harry. Scrolling through the launch teasers, you wouldn't know she had a husband, no "we" in the captions, no Harry on the brand's Instagram grid.
The notion of a book really might centre around a post-Harry divorce. And this. The source who worked in media projects says Meghan's own relationships with employees tended.
Instead, you saw Meghan front and centre, her hand-lettered logo, her signature palette, her personal story about finding balance after the whirlwind of royal life.
Are reportedly on a trial separation after months of fighting. Sources close to the pair say the time apart is in the hope of rebuilding their bond after recent humiliation and deals falling through with Spotify.
And the narrative was crystal clear. This is her journey, solo. Next, the surprise Netflix special with Love. Meghan sent another signal. There were glam shots, intimate reflections, a peek behind the curtain.
Is this allegation that Meghan was shopping around a post-divorce book while she was still married, And I assume, unbeknownst to Harry, that he will apparently end up on the scrap heap once it's time to pull the trigger on this particular project.
But once again, Harry was nowhere in sight. She spoke candidly about life in Los Angeles, motherhood, and creative reinvention, framing each chapter as part of her individual evolution.
Yes, you're right. They went over to America. They were going to be a power couple. They were going to be the next Michelle and Barack Obama or the next George and Amal Clooney, and that has not worked out for them.
It wasn't just a documentary. It was a strategic repositioning of Meghan from Sussex wife to independent icon. And let's not overlook the book deal, a contract reportedly worth 7 figures, promising a memoir that would reveal untold stories and set the record straight.
I wish I could say that surprises me, but it seems like the privacy brigade, when they're not begging us to leave them alone, will also do anything for attention. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if she'd shopped a divorce book or a divorce reality show.
This isn't the kind of project you casually co-author with your spouse. It's a one-woman spotlight designed to showcase Meghan's voice above all others.
It really gives a whole new meaning to professional separation. And one wonders where the Sussexes go to from here. How do you regroup after such a sensational and merciless rebuke?
But what really caught royal watchers off guard was the timing. Each major announcement from Meghan seems to land in the same window that Harry faces fresh rumors of royal fallout. Coincidence? Unlikely.
So they're very much looking at separate professional lives. There's some commentary around the fact that there may be some upset in their marriage as well. But at this stage, it's just looking like they are very much following different paths. Meghan, of course, is involved with American Riviera Orchard.
Industry insiders note that Meghan's PR team has mastered the art of narrative synchronization, dropping feel-good updates about her philanthropic partnerships or fashion lines, just as palace leaks about Harry's title turmoil hit the tabloids.
Of course, is involved with American Riviera Orchard, her jams and preserves and dog biscuits, and of course the cooking show that's going to accompany that.
The result, viewers are left balancing 2 stories, one of Meghan's unstoppable rise and one of Harry's steady descent, and it feels inevitable that the lines between them will blur.
Back to the things that really meant a lot to him in the past. So that is following his mother's work with the Halo Trust, the Diana Awards, some of his African charities, obviously Invictus. And so they're sort of managing, instead of being a team, now they're being seen as 2 individuals pursuing very different careers.
There's also her burgeoning podcast network. Reports suggest she's in talks with streaming platforms to produce unscripted series and perhaps even a scripted drama loosely based on her life.
In UK royal drama. New report makes bombshell claims. Is Prince Harry unhappy living in US? Is Duke of Sussex feeling isolated in California? Why Meghan is anxious as rumors swirl about Harry. Royal expert reveals shocking details. Being away from one's homeland can be challenging for anyone, and Prince Harry is no different. According to a royal expert, Meghan Markle may be feeling increasingly anxious amid growing speculation about Prince Harry's happiness in the United States. Although the Duke and Duchess of Sussex recently appeared joyful in a photo Meghan shared on her new as ever Instagram account, expert Jenny Bond suggests that Meghan is keenly aware of the swirling online discussions questioning whether Harry is genuinely content in his new life away from the UK. According to a report, Meghan is trying very hard to show the world that she has a happy marriage and that both of them are leading a happy family life. Jenny Bond told a media network that Meghan will be aware that some people, particularly in the UK, believe rumors that Harry is unhappy.
Imagine the headlines: Meghan Markle's Netflix empire expands versus Prince Harry's future in jeopardy. Each new deal cements Meghan's identity as a content creator, while the former royal is increasingly defined by what he's losing rather than what he's building.
You know, separation at this superficial type level, I suppose, does that help the substantive credibility issues?
Well, I think it can't hurt in a way, Caro, because brand Sussex as a going concern together clearly is in its death throes.
The most telling detail? The exclusive merch drops. Over the last few months, Meghan has released branded notebooks, candles, and apparel under her name, all carefully timed to capitalize on her own social media engagement metrics. No joint collaborations, no Sussex style, just Meghan Markle unfiltered. It's the kind of playbook that says, I can thrive on my own, whether Harry stands beside her or not. And if you think these moves are purely business, look closer. Within palace circles, the whispers speak of resentment that Meghan pushed Harry to step away from royal responsibilities, only to hedge her bets when the fallout became too steep. Some insiders even claim she foresaw the potential for Harry's permanent fall from grace and quietly lined up her own safety net. If that's true, then these solo ventures aren't just sideline projects, they're exit strategies. But perhaps the most intriguing part is how Meghan crafts her public persona around resilience.
Their strengths as well. And I think another mistake they've made is pinning their great romance and love story, the big story of redemption and freedom from the evil royal family.
Each headline about her brand triumphs is contrasted by the darker stories swirling around Harry. And every time Meghan seizes the narrative, the question grows louder. Is she preparing for life without him? As we'll see in the next section, their public appearances tell an entirely different story, one of united front and defiance. But scratch the surface, and there are hints that even those moments may be more performance than partnership. On the surface, Meghan and Harry still present a united front when they step onto the world stage. You've seen the date-night paparazzi snaps of the two locking arms at Beyoncé concerts, the coordinated outfits at the Invictus Games, and the video clips of them smiling together on red carpet appearances. To their fans, these moments feel like proof that nothing can break the Sussex bond. But in the era of PR warfare, the optics can be deceiving.
21, they've pinned that to their sort of professional footprint, which in a way has meant that they expected that everything would just...
Take their recent appearance at the Los Angeles premiere of a major documentary. Cameras caught Meghan laughing at Harry's jokes, and Harry placing a reassuring hand on her back. All the footage screamed, strong couple. Yet keen observers noted subtle cracks. Meghan's body language flicked between warm closeness and moments where she glanced away, eyes scanning the crowd rather than staying locked on Harry.
Being away from one's homeland can be challenging for anyone, and Prince Harry is no different. According to a royal expert, Meghan Markle may be feeling increasingly anxious.
It was almost as if she was waiting for something, or someone, else to capture her focus. Then there were the official Sussex statements that followed. When a tabloid claimed Harry's title woes would force them to move out of their California home, the couple released a joint denial. But curious details emerged. The statement was drafted by Meghan's communications team, with Harry signing on afterward, and his own team had little to add.
Deals, and of course that hasn't actually happened. It's been quite the opposite. So they have to try a different tact, and possibly going their separate ways in a professional sense is the best way to do this.
Sources close to the ex-royal circle described it as Meghan's show, with Harry in the supporting role. Meanwhile, rumor mills churned with reports of private dinner invitations where Meghan was conspicuously absent. Insiders at a recent charity gala in New York said Harry attended solo, speaking candidly about his hopes to return to philanthropic work, while Meghan was back in LA handling brand partnerships.
Growing speculation about Prince Harry's happiness in the United States. Although the Duke and Duchess of Sussex recently appeared joyful in a photo Meghan shared on her new as ever Instagram account.
When asked, his spokesperson spun it as logistical necessity. But what really raised eyebrows was which events they chose to do together, and which ones they didn't. The media's role in this dance can't be understated. Every image of them together fuels fan loyalty. But every odd moment, like Meghan arriving at an award show 10 minutes behind Harry, or Harry making cryptic references to new chapters in interviews.
He founded this charity back when he was still in his late teens. That was when he'd gone there by the insistence of Mark Dyer, who was one of Harry's staff members from the palace who looked after William and Harry.
Fans the flames of speculation. Tabloids have run headlines suggesting Meghan fumes as Harry faces royal ban, and social feeds are abuzz with theories that they're merely preserving appearances until the divorce papers are signed. Yet for all the conjecture, the couple has mastered one thing: control of the narrative. When rumors of a divorce first circulated, fueled by a misinterpreted offhand comment on a talk show, they issued a polished video message reaffirming their unity.
You expect him, as we discussed earlier, to really go back and focus on his strengths?
Yes, and I believe his strengths are leadership, obviously from being in the army and those tours of Afghanistan and the Invictus Games, he said.
Viewers saw a smiling pair pledging undying support, but the real story was in what they didn't say. No details on Harry's title drama, no plans for a joint project, No hints of a shared future beyond vague promises of ongoing work together. It's this very tension between the public show of solidarity and the private maneuvering that keeps audiences hooked.
Not too long ago describing her as a dictator and in high heels, trying to explain why so many staff, the churn of staff and people disillusioned with working for the Sussexes was happening.
Every scripted appearance begs the question, are they truly in it together? Or is this the last act of a partnership that's already fractured? As we move into the next section, we'll pull back the curtain even further, examining how media narratives and palace leaks are amplifying these contradictions, and what it all means for the Sussex legacy.
That Meghan is keenly aware of the swirling online discussions questioning whether Harry is genuinely content in his new life away from the UK. According to a report, Meghan is trying very hard to show the world that she has a happy marriage and that both of them are leading a happy family life.
Buckle up, because the story behind the headlines is about to get even more intense. In the age of clickbait and curated perception, the media isn't just telling the Sussex story, it's shaping it, molding public opinion in ways even the most seasoned PR teams can't fully control. From the moment Meghan and Harry stepped away from royal life, they became a different kind of royalty. One not governed by tradition, but by headlines. Every move they make is filtered through an ever-churning machine of gossip columns, op-eds, anonymous sources, and TikTok theorists. And that machine doesn't just report drama, it feeds on it. When rumors first broke about Meghan allegedly considering divorce, it wasn't through an official source or a credible newswire. It began with a single blind item on a gossip blog, picked up by an influencer, then exploded across social media. Within 48 hours, outlets like the Daily Mail, Page Six, and even CNN Entertainment were reporting on it, not as fact, but as speculation fueled by public interest. That's the game now. If it trends, it gets covered.
Us Weekly, which is sought to sort of mop up some of the damage there and describe them as a fantastic couple on a mission to heal the world, and they're wonderful to work with.
Truth becomes secondary to virality. But here's the twist. Meghan and Harry's PR strategy thrives in that chaos. Their entire post-royal identity is built on selective vulnerability. When they appear in documentaries or interviews, think Oprah, Netflix, Spotify, they share enough pain and drama to draw sympathy, but never so much that the audience knows the full picture. That ambiguity is strategic. It keeps people talking, and the media eats it up. When Harry's memoir Spare dropped, journalists dissected it for inconsistencies. Was Meghan really targeted by palace staff, or was it exaggerated for effect? Did William really grab Harry by the collar in a physical altercation? The public couldn't agree, but it didn't matter, because the debate was the point.
Us Weekly, then the Beast piece came out, which has caused some damage as well. But she's certainly got some work to do on the reputation front, I feel.
Even now, the media landscape is divided. Team Meghan paints her as a misunderstood genius, a woman vilified for daring to leave a broken system. Team Royalist sees her as the mastermind behind Harry's downfall, a fame-hungry outsider who manipulated her way into the palace only to burn it down from within.
Remember, Meghan from the very beginning has been hogging the limelight, while Harry is always seen as an unhappy figure in the background. Earlier, a veteran royal biographer claimed that Meghan Markle is slowly separating herself from Prince Harry.
And then there's Team Undecided. Millions of casual observers watching, sharing memes, scrolling Reddit threads, trying to decipher if those awkward glances in solo ventures mean something more. That's the audience this content is for. They don't need a smoking gun. They need a reason to keep watching. The result? A narrative that changes depending on where you stand, but never loses momentum. And it's not just about fame. There are real consequences to this media obsession.
Starts to be pulled. It's very difficult to quell this sort of story. Do you see it letting up?
Not at all. And I think the reason it's not letting up is because the palace never released the findings of the bullying allegations investigation that the independent review that they undertook.
Meghan and Harry's brand valuation, yes, they're literally branded, fluctuates with each new rumor. A divorce headline can tank a business deal. A pregnancy rumor can spike podcast listens. Everything is transactional now, and the media holds the keys. What's more disturbing is the role of controlled leaks. Palace insiders have long been accused of feeding the press with carefully timed intel. And now, Meghan's camp is doing the same. Think of it as narrative warfare. both sides planting seeds, weaponizing whispers, and letting the internet water them. And while the couple may denounce media intrusion, they're also curating their image more than ever, right down to the lighting of their Netflix interviews and the hashtags in Meghan's brand posts. It's a game of manipulation disguised as transparency. But the cracks are starting to show.
Show. I'm honestly half surprised she hasn't come out as transgender yet. I guess you just constantly have to reinvent yourself and come up with new reasons for relevancy.
When Harry recently gave an off-the-cuff interview about fatherhood, some noticed he didn't once mention Meghan. The press noticed too. And within days, a new story emerged. Meghan's sources claiming she's been focused on her own goals and supports Harry's journey from a distance. From a distance. A chilling phrase if you think about it. The media isn't tearing them apart. It's simply reflecting the space that already seems to exist between them. And as long as that gap continues to grow, the headlines won't stop. But as the Sussex brand gets pulled in opposite directions, what's their long-term plan? Are they navigating toward a quiet separation or doubling down on the public performance of unity? Let's dive into that next.
The whole point of doing that review was that there had been complaints about Meghan. And so as journalists, we know if we don't have an unresolved story, we will keep pulling at that thread, as you know. So people within Meghan's employ, and there have been plenty of them, they may have signed NDAs, but they go.
Now we get to the heart of the mystery. Where do Harry and Meghan go from here? On paper, they have everything. A multi-million-dollar estate in Montecito, media contracts with Netflix, Penguin Random House, and Spotify, had, in Spotify's case, global name recognition, a sprawling fan base, and 2 children shielded from the harshest royal spotlight. But beneath the surface, it's clear that their paths are no longer in sync. Let's start with Harry. He's caught in a strange limbo. Too royal to be a regular celebrity, too controversial to be welcomed back into the palace fold. His memoir, while commercially successful, painted a portrait of a man still haunted by trauma, unsure of his place in the world. His mental health advocacy work continues, but without the weight of a royal title, it's often drowned out by the noise of tabloid headlines and personal drama. Even his signature project, the Invictus Games, has faced funding challenges and dwindling viewership since stepping away from the monarchy.
I mean, everything that they've touched turns to the opposite of gold when it comes to their entertainment company and their Netflix deal.
Some insiders say Harry feels lost without structure, no clear role, no institution, just a title that's increasingly symbolic and potentially about to be stripped altogether. Meanwhile, Meghan is surging ahead. Her lifestyle brand is expanding into wellness, fashion, and home decor. She's reportedly fielding offers from production studios for scripted roles, behind-the-scenes executive positions, and high-end brand collabs. There's talk of a Goop-style media empire. And while Harry seems hesitant to dive back into public life full force, Meghan is all in. And here's the catch. Every successful solo endeavor Meghan launches makes one thing more obvious. She doesn't need the Sussex brand to thrive. That's not just a branding challenge. That's an identity crisis for the couple, because Harry and Meghan was always sold as a package. A love story, a united rebellion against the crown. But now, it's becoming clear that one half of that brand is ready to evolve. Maybe even leave the other behind. Insiders close to the couple have whispered about growing differences in ambition. Meghan wants to expand, innovate, and lead her own narrative. Harry reportedly longs for a quieter life, one that doesn't require constantly defending himself or monetizing pain for public sympathy. That disconnect could become a breaking point.
The thing about her is that when she did her podcast series for Spotify, she didn't even record the interviews properly. She had producers interview the people and then read a script in her own voice of the questions to be edited in after the fact.
They also reportedly disagree on how to raise their children. Meghan is said to be passionate about introducing Archie and Lilibet to activism and media literacy early, while Harry wants them shielded from fame, rooted in simplicity. 2 different philosophies, 2 different futures. One centered around global influence, the other craving anonymity. There's also a legal dimension looming. Should Harry lose his title or be removed from royal lineage, how does that affect their shared brand or any future business plans linked to royalty? Will Netflix still care about the Duke of Sussex if he's just Harry? Will Meghan rebrand her empire entirely under her maiden name? And then there's the emotional layer.
There are so many huge revelations. Take us through some of the key claims.
Multiple sources have reported that Meghan has already begun counseling privately, preparing for major transitions. Whether that's personal, professional, or both, no one knows. But the timing is telling, because every move the couple makes, every appearance, statement, product launch, or subtle body language cue is now under scrutiny. And as of now, there's no joint podcast on the horizon, no co-authored book, no public roadmap for future collaborations, just two powerful individuals slowly drifting into separate narratives. What happens next?
After the fact, that seems like more work to me, but it's just peak Meghan Markle. And so if this report is true, it would just be the latest in a long line.
Well, that's where the real speculation begins. But first, let's rewind and look at how this all began. How Meghan's entrance into royal life and the firm's resistance to her may have set this all in motion from the very start. And how that initial conflict could be the key to understanding how and why this fairy tale began to fracture. To understand how Meghan and Harry reached this point, on the edge of a public unraveling, you have to go back to where it all started, the day Meghan stepped into the royal spotlight. At first, it was a modern love story. The press dubbed her a breath of fresh air, a biracial American actress marrying into one of the most rigid, conservative institutions in the world. It felt like history in the making, but behind the palace gates, things were already falling apart. Insiders say the moment Meghan walked into royal life, she was viewed as a disruption, not an addition. Staff allegedly referred to her as Duchess Difficult. The tabloids pounced on everything: her family drama, her fashion choices, even how she held her baby bump. And rather than defend her, the firm reportedly advised her to stay silent. That silence became resentment. Harry, already estranged from much of the institution, felt torn. On one side, his family, duty, tradition, and the ghost of his mother. On the other, a woman he saw as his chance to break free, to build a future on his own terms.
I'm sad that of all the Americans to be initiated into the royal family, it had to be her.
I know, it's such a shame it had to be Meghan Markle out of everybody, every other American out there, Brad Palumbo. Apparently it had to be.
But freedom came at a price. When the two sat down for the now infamous Oprah interview in 2021, the world finally saw what had been brewing: allegations of racism, neglect, and a total breakdown of support. Meghan confessed to suicidal thoughts. Harry admitted feeling trapped. The public reaction was explosive. Some hailed the couple as brave truth-tellers. Others accused them of betrayal. And while the interview was meant to clear the air, it only fanned the flames. The royal family responded with a cold, clinical statement. Recollections may vary. From that point on, the Sussexes were on their own. But what looked like a shared mission to break the system soon began to look like two people with different goals. Meghan leaned into content creation, style, and storytelling. Harry seemed to drift, clinging to his past while trying to justify his present. Sources close to palace staff say Meghan never truly wanted to be part of the firm, but underestimated the full cost of leaving. And Harry? He wanted both worlds. He wanted to challenge the system while still feeling connected to it. This tension played out in public over and over. When Queen Elizabeth passed, Harry was reportedly left out of critical moments. Meghan wasn't invited to the deathbed. At the coronation of King Charles, Harry sat rows behind his brother, arriving late, leaving early. Meghan didn't even attend. But instead of showing cracks, the couple doubled down on public unity, at least for a while.
No favors. They're in a bad place right now.
Yeah, that's very clear. I agree. I don't think that the photo opportunities at the
until the solo ventures started stacking up, the subtle shifts in language, the absence from each other's announcements. Meghan stopped wearing her engagement ring in some appearances. Harry made cryptic comments about choosing peace and letting go. And now, with the threat of title removal hanging over him, Harry stands to lose the last link to the family that raised him, while Meghan appears more focused than ever on building her own path forward.
You might have heard lots of rumours swirling about the couple, especially over the weekend, that their relationship is on the rocks. It's been suggested the couple are taking some time apart.
But here's the haunting truth. Was this always going to happen? Was Meghan ever truly accepted? Could Harry have stayed even if he wanted to? And is the distance we see now, the branding, the appearances, the strategic PR, just the final stage of a journey that was always heading towards separate lives?
To take full custody of their 2 children. The report added that Harry has a mental health issue, and Meghan is not doing anything to help him out. Remember, Prince Harry had shared in his controversial memoir Spare that he struggled with agoraphobia.
That's what we'll explore in our final section as we pull back and look at what this all says about power, legacy, and the myth of the fairy tale couple.
As I understand it, the rumour mill is saying if she, Meghan, was to be able to be independent financially or,
After years of carefully curated branding, explosive interviews, and coordinated appearances, it now seems that the Sussex narrative is approaching a final pivot. But what does that really mean? Let's look at the signs.
A report claimed that Prince Harry was feeling isolated in California and overshadowed by Meghan Markle. The report added that he is reconnecting with old friends and advisors in the UK.
First, the subtle rebranding of their online presence. The Archewell site has reportedly been scaled back, with joint updates slowing to a trickle. Recent filings show that while the charitable foundation remains active, most Meghan-led projects now link back to her personal brand pages, not joint platforms. It's a separation, not of assets, but of identity.
it would make a fragile situation more fragile.
That's absolutely, Eamon. That was released on my podcast over the weekend. I talked to the founder of Crazy Days and Nights, who's really been ahead of.
Meanwhile, Harry has been spotted back in the UK more often, sometimes for court cases, sometimes for solo charity events, often alone. He's no longer guaranteed a welcome mat at royal events, but there's a strange familiarity to his solo appearances, as if he's trying to reconnect with something he left behind. And while Harry re-enters the royal orbit cautiously, Meghan seems to be planting roots further away from it than ever. She's appeared at high-profile Hollywood events without him. She's been rumored to be developing a biographical drama loosely inspired by her own experiences, one that reportedly doesn't end with a happy couple walking into the sunset.
I'm reading in these papers, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they've split, they're taking time apart, they've been humiliated and broken by their failures, and the story was everywhere. It was in the US, it was in Britain, it was here, it was in India, it was Pakistan, everywhere.
Even the way they speak about each other has changed. Gone are the gushing declarations of being each other's rock or soulmates. Now we hear lines like, "We support each other's paths," and "We're proud of our individual journeys." It's subtle, but it's calculated. This isn't a couple navigating temporary tension. This is a strategic decoupling of brand and identity, designed to soften the blow when the partnership dissolves in the public eye. And make no mistake, the stakes are massive. If Meghan and Harry separate, the media circus will be unprecedented. Their fan base, already fractured, may implode. Royalists will gloat. Hollywood will scramble to see who lands where. PR firms are likely already drafting contingency plans.
A thing like that becomes news, how people feed off each other, and bang, there it is. Maybe Harry's right about the media.
But beyond the headlines, something deeper is at stake. Because this isn't just about Harry and Meghan. It's about a bigger question. Can love survive a battle with legacy, trauma, and public obsession? For Meghan, the future is bright. If not complicated, she's poised to become one of the most influential female figures in modern media. Regardless of her marriage, her story will evolve, perhaps even flourish, without the weight of royal controversy dragging her down. For Harry, it's less certain. Without his title, his role, or Meghan at his side, what does he become? A former prince in exile? A cautionary tale? Or something else entirely? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. The fairy tale is over. What remains now is something far more complicated, far more human, and perhaps more relatable than ever. So after all the headlines, the press wars, the interviews, the deals, the documentaries, the distance, and now the silence, what are we really left with?
Shop ever could, but these rumors are not stopping. It's like a bleed that it's like a wound that won't heal. You're hearing from more and more people. One of the rumors is that Meghan has set up shop in a hotel suite across from her agents.
Two people, not royalty, not titles, just two human beings caught between love and legacy, between past and future, between the expectations of the world and the truth inside their own home. When Harry and Meghan first stepped back from royal duties, the world was shocked. When they left the UK entirely, the public was divided. And when they started speaking their truth on Netflix, on Oprah, in podcasts and print, everyone had an opinion. They weren't just telling their story, they became the story. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Maybe that fairy tale ending never existed. Not because they failed, but because the system they tried to escape was never designed to let them win. Think about it. Meghan was never truly welcomed by the firm. Her ambition, her independence, her identity.
Meghan Markle opened up about her love story with the British royal during a podcast. Shutting the divorce rumors, Meghan likened their relationship to the final round of a video game where she said that you slay the dragon, save the princess.
None of it fit into the monarchy's outdated blueprint. And Harry? He was the spare from the day he was born. His pain was institutionalized. His rebellion was always a matter of when, not if. Together, they broke every rule, and they paid the price. And now, we're watching something no royal story has ever shown in real time, a public unraveling that's quiet, strategic, and deeply personal. Not a scandal splashed across front pages, not an explosive affair or a midnight escape. Just distance. Soft rebrands, muted statements, quiet divergence. That's what makes this so compelling. Because we're not watching a breakup. We're watching a brand fracture in real time, a partnership deconstruct itself under the weight of fame, trauma, and two very different dreams. One still rooted in public service, identity, and a desperate need for belonging. The other in control, creativity, and complete reinvention. And through it all, the media can't look away. Neither can we.
I'm not praying for a divorce. I mean, that is really cynical.
Well, it is the talk. In here, like in Los Angeles, the talk is that Netflix are staying cozy with Meghan in case things go south.
Because this is more than just a royal drama. It's a reflection of what happens when love meets power, and both start pulling in opposite directions. So now we're left with the question no palace insider, tabloid editor, or PR rep can answer. Can Harry and Meghan survive this final test? Not just together, but as individuals finally stepping out of the shadows of each other? Can Harry forge a new purpose without the structure of the crown, or the support of the woman who helped him leave it behind? Can Meghan build an empire without being forever tethered to royal drama and the man who came with it? And more importantly, do they even want to anymore? Because as Meghan's solo ventures soar and Harry's royal ties are threatened, one thing becomes unmistakably clear. The Sussex brand is no longer a shared story. It's two parallel paths, heading toward entirely different endings. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment below. Do you think Meghan's playing 4D chess with her PR moves? Is Harry being pushed aside by both his family and his wife? Or are they still playing the long game, just separately? Tap that like button if you want the full truth, not the headlines. Subscribe for more stories that go deeper, darker, and beyond what the mainstream's willing to say. Because in a world of curated images and spin cycles, you deserve the story behind the story. And trust me, this one's not over, not even close.